Hey everybody, this is Sneaky Spooky. I'm glad that a lot of people got my channel out there, my video. I was surprised at the amount of viewers that I got in the first couple of weeks. Well, I got a story for you. Now, some people in the family know this story. My friends don't, but I'm going to share it with you. Imagine yourself in the 1970s. It's a different time, you know. My father and his two cousins decide that they're going to go ahead and just ride to North Carolina, see some relatives, do a long weekend, whatever. So they jump in a Volkswagen Beetle and they're going to North Carolina. About 10 hours into the trip, they're in North Carolina. It's very early in the morning, maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And cousin C is driving. My father's in the passenger seat, and cousin L is in the back seat. My father doesn't, he's like starting to wake up just a little bit. He's a little woozy, but the car pulls over. And the only thing he feels is that the seat gets pushed up and somebody squeezes in behind him. And the seat pops back into position. And so he reaches out and he shuts the door. Cousin C drives off. Now, this is not strange. Not in the 1970s. It was normal to pick up hitchhikers. So as they were driving, my father hears this voice in the back. Do you know who I am? And Dad wakes up. He wakes up. And he doesn't want to be rude or anything and look over the seat to look back there. But he's startled. And cousin C says, yeah, they call you gooseneck. And my father eyebrow probably goes up just like this, wondering, who is gooseneck? So he grabs the mirror, the rear view mirror, and kind of pulls it down into position. He wants to get a look at this gooseneck. The first thing he sees is cousin L looking up at the person next to him with fear in his eyes. And he pushes the mirror over a little bit, and the only thing he sees is all neck, small head, big ears. So Gooseneck says, yeah, that's who I am. And so Dad just fixed the mirror and stays in position. They go on driving down the road and everything. Nobody's going back to sleep. And cousin C just pulls the car over. Dad opens the door, the seat pushes him up. Gooseneck squeezes out the car. Door shut. They drive off. No one says anything. No one talks about anything. And Gooseneck is never heard from ever again. 70s was a different time. I'm going to tell you something else, though. I found out about maybe 10, 15 years ago that all the women that I know, relatives, not all, but 80 to 90% of them have been either sexually assaulted or attempted. I thought that number was high. I think it's terrible. It reminds me of one of my relatives, you know, Michelle. She was at this party one night. This was the 1980s, and the party was going late, and her original ride had left. So this guy named Joe, he said, "I'll take you home." Now, Joe was an upstanding citizen in the neighborhood. He was a drug fighter, you know. Hey, somebody that, protests against drugs, cleaning up the neighborhood, you can trust. So she accepts that ride from him. And they're on their way home. But he pulls off and goes up 52nd Street instead. 52nd Street in Philadelphia. He goes into Fairmount Park to a secluded section. He stops the truck. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's pouring down rain. He looks over at Michelle and says, "You better suck my dick." And of course, she's shocked. She's scared. And she says, "No, take me home." He says, "If you don't suck my dick now, I'm going to fuck your ass up. I'm going to punch you in your fucking face." The window is cracked on the right side where she's sitting. She tries to open the door. The door does not open up. The lock handle is missing, so she can't pull it up. So he grabs her. She goes for the window. She's squeezing out the window. He's grabbing her leg, trying to pull her in. There's a tug of war going on. She's squeezing, trying to escape. And he's starting to hit her at this point. Hitting her in her leg, again, pulling her back, And she fights, and she finally gets a good handle on the outside of the truck. And she pushes herself. She falls face first in a big puddle of mud. Now she got mud all over her. Her clothes are torn up. And she gets up and just starts running. And a stranger comes by. Somebody that she doesn't know. Somebody who doesn't have the reputation of being a drug fighter, an upstanding citizen in the neighborhood, comes by, sees her, and he stops and says, Get in here. I'll take you home." She takes that ride, and she makes it home that night. Now, because of who Joe was, she never told that story. It took her about 20 years to tell that story after he died. I was at the funeral. Strange funeral. There were strange things said by some young female members. It was weird. I tell you this. it gave me the impression that old Joe was dipping with, some younger female members of the family, even though that he was married and everything. You know, one mentioned that he always said that I was his special girl. Hmm. My stomach felt a little queasy at that. You know, I lost all respect. You know, I know everybody has two sides of them, but how evil is the other side of you? This is Sneaky Spooky signing out. I need everybody to share my video. Give me some thumbs up. Hit that red subscribe button. Hey, I'm trying to monetize this. You all know who I am. Take care.